The first blast didn't just shake the desert, it woke something she'd buried deep. And in that flash, the quiet contractor everyone ignored stopped being invisible. Moments earlier, the night had been calm. The low hum of servers filled a cramped comms room, soft light reflecting off Ava Mercer's glasses. 29. Dark hair pulled back, hoodie 2 sizes too big. She looked like any harmless IT tech at Forward Operating Base Argos, maintaining networks while others guarded the walls. Most barely remembered her name exactly how she liked it. Voiceover. 4 years in the Marine Corps. 2 deployments. Too many nights that didn't end when the shooting stopped. I came here to fix systems, not people. Outside, floodlights washed over the barriers in sterile white. A UH-60 Blackhawk idled beyond the tents, rotors stirring fine dust into spirals under the moonlight. Ava closed her laptop, rubbed her temples, and glanced at the clock, 2:57, for once. Nothing was broken. Then the alarm screamed. A metallic tone perimeter breach. Red strobes pulsed down the hallway like a heartbeat gone wrong. Through the narrow window, tracer rounds stitched the sky in violent red streaks. Her radio came alive. Sergeant, Rami Tarek Tower, 3's down, hostiles inside the wire defensive positions. This is not a drill. Ava froze for one heartbeat, then training took over. The main grid was down, cameras dark, but she knew the backup system's comms and armory bays were on isolated generators. Argos always planned for blackouts, and Ava had helped wire them. She moved to the emergency locker, the one she'd rewired months ago for base redundancy. The keypad still accepted her code. Argos kept a small cache of weapons for vetted contractors with prior service, and Ava's clearance had never been revoked. The door hissed open. Inside lay an M4A1 carbine, 4 magazines, a faint smell of oil and metal ghosts. For a moment, she just stared at the thing that had once defined her, and nearly destroyed her. Then came a scream, close, and hesitation died. She slammed the mag, racked the bolt, safety off. The glasses hit the desk. The hoodie fell away, underneath a black compression shirt, scar tracing her forearm, muscle shaped by discipline, not comfort. "All right, Mercer," she whispered. "Time to remember." Smoke crept under the door. She stepped out, boots whispering on concrete. 3 insurgents rounded the corner, wrong place. Wrong time. 3 short bursts. Center mass. Silence. Her radio crackled again. "Tarek Mercer, you're still up. Ava still up, and not hiding." She looked down at her hands, steady, precise, unshaken. The rifle felt too natural, too right. The contractor was gone. The Marine was awake, and somewhere beyond that corridor, the war she'd buried was clawing its way back to find her. Gunfire rolled across the compound like thunder against steel. Ava Mercer pressed her shoulder to the concrete wall. Breath steady. Smoke curling past her face as red emergency lights flickered through the hall. Every movement was quiet, deliberate, military. The part of her she'd buried was now fully awake. Outside chaos with rhythm, shouts in mixed dialects, the staccato rhythm of AK fire. From a broken window, Ava saw it all in snapshots, silhouettes flooding through the breach where Tower 3 once stood. Muzzle flashes lighting the desert like lightning. She keyed her radio. "Ava Mercer. Multiple hostiles inside the wire. Server wing secure. For now. Static." Then a ragged voice broke through. "Tarek, copy that. Barracks are hit hard, heavy weapons. We've lost half a squad." Ava peeked around the corner. Marines fired from behind sandbags, dragging wounded through dust and flame. The attackers weren't random raiders, their advance was coordinated, disciplined. Someone had studied Argos. Then she spotted it, a technical Toyota Hilux. DSK heavy gun mounted high, cutting the courtyard apart with sweeping bursts. Each spray hit like a sledgehammer of sound. Ava dropped to one knee, flipped to semi, and tracked the pattern. 3 bursts. Pause. 3 more. On the pause. She exhaled. Squeezed twice. 2 cracks. 2 flashes. The gunner folded. The weapon went still. Her pulse didn't spike, it leveled. She pushed forward through haze and debris. 2 Marines crouched behind a generator. Pinned down. One stared in disbelief. "Marine contractor Ava, former Marine," she said, moving past without slowing. She reached a shattered window overlooking the courtyard. Through the red haze, 6 soldiers knelt on the ground, hands bound, rifles aimed at their backs. Ava's stomach turned cold. No time to think. She braced her rifle, took one breath. 2 rounds dropped the executioner. Another pair found the flank. The rest scattered as bullets shredded the window. Glass rained around her as she rolled aside, reloading before the next burst. The radio flared again, a new voice, clipped, commanding, Halverson unknown marksman, admin building identify Ava Mercer, contractor, former Marine. A pause long enough to matter. Halverson, copy that. You just saved 6 of my men. Below, the freed soldiers scrambled for weapons, rejoining the fight. 1 Sepuel. Noah Brenner glanced up, meeting Ava's eyes for half a heartbeat. A silent thank you in the chaos. Then the floor shook. An explosion closer. Heavier rattled the hall. Ava ducked, swapped mags, and checked the north fence through the window. Dozens more insurgents were pouring through the breach, moving in squads, calling orders, disciplined as an army. This wasn't an infiltration anymore. The walls had fallen. The breach wasn't the attack. It was the beginning of a siege. The first sound wasn't gunfire. It was breathing slow, steady, deliberate, the kind that comes before a kill. Ava Mercer crouched behind a shattered window frame on the 2nd floor of the admin building, outside. FOB Argos burned in red haze tracer rounds stitched across the dark. Flares hissed through drifting smoke. Every blast lit the horizon white, then bled back into crimson. The base wasn't holding anymore, it was unraveling. She reloaded with mechanical calm, magazine in, bolt forward. Brass tinkled against the floor. Her movements weren't learned, they were remembered. Through the haze. She spotted a ladder hatch leading to the roof. The metal burned hot under her palms as she climbed. When she reached the top, the battlefield spread beneath her like a nightmare made of light and dust. Guard towers lay in ruins. Vehicles smoldered. 2 defensive clusters remained, Rally Alpha near the motor pool. Rally Bravo pinned behind the comms tents. Between them stretched a courtyard, a killing field of tracer fire. Ava keyed her radio. "Ava, this is Mercer. Admin roof. I've got overwatch." Static. Then a controlled male voice. "Halverson Mercer. This is Captain Halverson. Bravo's pinned DSHK team by the south fence. We can't move our wounded. Ava send grid. Halverson grid 279. You'll see muzzle flashes near the fuel drums." She found it a Hilux belching orange light through the haze. Range 180 meters. 2-man crew. Ava steadied her rifle. Exhaled. Fired twice. The gunner folded. Then the loader. 2 bodies dropped into silence. "Ava target neutralized. Halverson copy. You just bought us 30 seconds. We're moving." Below, medics sprinted between cover, dragging stretchers through smoke. Ava covered every step, one breath, one round, one heartbeat. For a moment, the tide shifted. Then movement at the northern fence caught her eye, a new wave pushing through. Disciplined, coordinated. Dozens of silhouettes shouting orders, flashing tactical lights. Not raiders, trained fighters. Her pulse steadied again, that marine instinct she wished had died years ago. "They're reinforcing," she muttered, then dropped back through the hatch. The armory sat across an open alley, 20 meters of kill zone, inside heavier weapons. Backup gear, maybe a chance to hold the line. But her contractor access was dead. She knew it. So she did what Marines do when systems fail. She ran. Bullets hissed past her, sparks flying from walls. She ducked low, sliding behind a barricade, then pushed again, sprinting through smoke. At the maintenance bay door, her fingers found the manual override she'd installed months ago while upgrading the power system. She bypassed the security relay sparks, jumped, lock released. Ava shoved the door open. Inside. 3 soldiers looked up. Wide-eyed, one of them. Specialist Ty Navarro, the same armorer who'd shared coffee with her last week. Ava Mercer. "How did you Ava long story? What's got more bite than an M4? Navarro pointed to a row of emergency crates, not the main vault, but the maintenance-side weapons bay M249 saws, M240s, a couple of AT4s. Ava's expression hardened. That'll do. She slung her M4, grabbed the saw, fed the belt through, and snapped the latch, the metallic click like a countdown to war. Outside, engines roared. Another wave was forming. Ava turned to Navarro, eyes sharp. "They're coming for this bay next." She chambered around. "Let's make them regret it." The camera would pull back smoke, muzzle flashes, the red glow of burning sand. The breach wasn't over. It was about to become a siege, and this time, she wasn't hiding behind anyone's uniform. The first 3 seconds hit like a hammer. The M249 roared, brass spilling across the floor like rain. Ava Mercer braced the weapon against her shoulder, each burst carving light through the darkness outside the maintenance bay. The recoil slammed back into her body, but her rhythm never broke 3-round bursts, controlled, precise. Outside, shouts echoed through smoke, short, clipped orders in another language. The insurgents were regrouping fast. Dust rained from the ceiling as RPGs slammed into the outer wall. Specialist Ty Navarro ducked behind a crate, shouting over the noise. "Navarro, they're setting up another launcher at the gate. Ava copy. I see it." She dragged the bipod forward, lined up through the shattered frame, and squeezed. The saw roared again. The gunner vanished in a blast of dust and debris. The entrance held for now. Ava swapped the hot barrel before it warped, fingers moving on instinct. Navarro stared at her, wide-eyed. "Navarro, who even are you?" Ava, just the IT girl who remembers her training. Another wave approached from the east, 20 or more. Ava shifted to the side window, short bursts sweeping the alley. "Ava radio Halverson. This is Mercer. Multiple contacts east of the bay. I need coordination fire west side. Now, Halverson radio copy. Mercer. Alpha team repositioning. Hold for 30 seconds, we'll pinch them." Ava exhaled, eyes locked through the smoke. 30 seconds. That was an eternity in this kind of fight. She turned to Navarro. "Ava, get those M240s on both flanks. Stagger your bursts, make it sound like more guns than we have." Navarro. "Got it." The small team snapped into motion. 2 soldiers manned the windows, short bursts echoing like overlapping thunder. Outside. Confusion spread. The enemy thought they were facing a full platoon. The radio buzzed again. "Halverson Mercer. We're in position. Confirm visual Ava confirmed. Alpha West, my team east. Let's collapse the alley. Halverson." "On your call." Ava reached for her NVG goggles and scanned the distance. Beyond the smoke, 2 Hilux Technicals staging under flickering lights. 50 meters out. She cursed under her breath. Too many for small arms. Her eyes caught the corner rack, a single AT-4 resting on the crate. Navarro. You sure about that thing? Ava, half smiling. Sure enough. She slung the launcher over her shoulder, steadied her breath, and fired. The rocket screamed into the night and struck the first vehicle dead center. The explosion tore the air apart. Fighters dove for cover. Ava reloaded with shaking hands, fired again. A second blast rolled across the desert like thunder over glass. The radio flared with static. Then Halverson's voice, this time with disbelief. Halverson, you just neutralized both technicals. We're advancing. Ava, copy that. Pushing east suppression. She set the empty launcher aside, grabbed her M4, and fired in rhythm with Alpha's push, trapped between converging fires. The insurgents broke. Chaos turned into retreat, their formation collapsing under precision and fury. The night went still, save for the ringing in her ears. Smoke, dust, and silence filled the air like the aftermath of a storm. Navarro. Did we just win, Ava? We survived, she said softly, reloading by habit. She looked toward the ridge, faint lights blinking in the far dark. Too distant to be friendly. Her voice dropped, almost to herself. They'll come for what they lost. The camera would pull back the maintenance bay, half ruined. Brass casings glinting under firelight. Ava standing at the window. Silhouette framed by smoke and the low hum of victory that didn't feel like one. The counterattack had worked, but the war wasn't done looking for her. The sun rose over FOB Argos like a reluctant witness. Smoke still drifted from shattered vehicles. The air thick with burnt metal and silence. Ava Mercer stood outside the armory, her hands trembling for the first time all night. The ground was littered with spent brass, shell casings glittering like memories she couldn't bury again. Inside the command post, exhausted soldiers leaned against walls, bandaged, bloodied, alive. Captain Reed Halverson moved through them, voice low but firm, counting survivors. 5 KIA, 12 wounded. Enemy casualties 18 confirmed, 8 captured. The rest ran. When he reached Ava, he stopped. You saved this base. That's not in your contract. Wasn't in my last one either, she said quietly. He gave her a look somewhere between respect and sorrow. Command wants to talk. Upstairs. Ava followed him to the briefing room, still half lit, still smelling of dust and diesel. Colonel Grant Rourke stood at the head of the table, beside him. A woman in civilian clothes, sharp eyes behind wire frames, Dr. Elena Voss from Intelligence Division. Rourke didn't waste time. We've reviewed your file. Mercer, the real one. Marine Corps Infantry. 2 deployments. Navy Cross classified citation. You disappeared after discharge. Ava said nothing. The colonel gestured toward Voss. Dr. Voss leads a covert program denied area operations. Small, autonomous teams built from people who can operate alone, adapt, and survive. Your performance tonight fits that profile exactly. Voss folded her hands. We're offering you an assignment. Ava, you'd keep your contractor cover, work under our directive when needed. High risk, high clearance, total autonomy. Ava stared at the table. The reflection of her hands on the metal surface looked like 2 people, the one she was, and the one she tried not to be. I walked away because killing came too easy, she said, and I hated what it turned me into. Voss's tone was calm. Surgical. Maybe it's not about what you were, but how you use what's left. Silence hung between them. Outside, a Blackhawk's rotors began to spin, kicking dust across the courtyard. Ava looked out the window. The same desert where she'd tried to disappear. "If I say yes," she asked, "do I get to choose why I fight?" Rourke nodded once. "That's exactly why we want you." She exhaled slowly, the weight of the night still clinging to her. Then she turned back toward the door. "Then I'm in. But this time I fight to save people, not myself." The colonel smiled faintly. "Welcome back, Marine," as the Black Hawk lifted off outside. Ava's reflection vanished into the light. "If you're hearing this, tell me, where are you watching from? And if you want to see what happens when the quiet ones finally fight back, subscribe and stay with us. The war's just getting started."